What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the top of the map in the blue color, playing as Oranos. His name is Kvoth. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Hades. His name is Kimo. The map is competitive mega random. This is the group stages of the Champions League tournament. I am dressed up for the occasion because I played some piano before and we felt like keeping it classy. If you want to check out the piano stream, you're going to have to go over to Twitch and find the VOD. That's all I'm going to say. It's not going to be anywhere else. It's going to get deleted after a month as well. So, nonetheless, we're now watching some Age of Mythology. We are on the competitive mega random map, and we are on the variant of the competitive mega random map, which has got forests all around the outside. Around the outside. I really like this map as opposed to, say, Gold Rush. I do like Gold Rush as well, but what I like about this map is you get these corner sides where you can drop a market. So say you put the market here and you have control of, say, this town center, you can have a fairly efficient trade route going from this corner straight to the middle of the map. Obviously, your opponent would probably have these two town centers as well, but he would also be able to do something fairly similar. It's really cool. Or you can have like a market up in this corner that trades over to this town center right through the middle of the map. Could be really, really fun and exciting. But we'll see how things are going to go. We do see that Kvoth is going for his Oranos here. Kvoth has been kind of sticking away from the Gaia, so to speak, until he feels comfortable in the matchup to actually pull the Gaia out. He doesn't really want to play Gaia into one of those kind of difficult matchups. Now, whether or not Gaia against Hades is a good matchup or not for Gaia, I'm not 100% sure. I think Gaia is a fairly strong god against most of the Greeks, but we'll see how things are going to go here. Kimo's actually already got himself 5 villagers on wood. He's got 5 villagers on food as well. I think he's made a little bit of a mistake there in the early game as he moves the villagers over to the deer or somewhere else, over onto the boars down the bottom of the map here. But an interesting decision there. I'm not sure exactly why he made that one. Generally speaking, Greek players want to go 2 villagers on wood, 2 villagers on gold, and then, or 1 villager on gold even if they put the villager on the gold straight away. And then they can afford to get their temple up. They can afford to get a very, very clean advance time. And they can actually afford, I've done the math, they can afford to get themselves a 4:30 advance time with an immediate second town center, an Ajax, and a Chiron. If you go for the 4:16 variant, it is a slight delay on the second town center if you want the Chiron out or straight away, or a slight delay on the Chiron if you want the town center up. But by any stretch, you will be able to be getting both things out by the 4:30 mark. So we do see the temple coming up now for Kimo. Relics on the map. We do have the Hearter's Folly as well over there. As on the top side of the map, we do have the Titan's Treasure. So Titan's Treasure giving you a reduction in cost to the Titan Age, and Hearter's Folly giving your scouts an extra little bit of line of sight. Kimo does have a kind of open gold mine, but he shouldn't be too unhappy about this because the forest, the cliff, everything here is like an easy thing for Kimo to defend against any sort of pushes with towers on the gold mine as well. He should be completely fine here. The question is, how is the map going to treat Kimo moving forward? He's getting himself the Ajax. He's going up through Athena very, very late to the second age here as Kvoth looks like he's gone for a 3:55 attempt, a 4-minute hunting dogs advance time here as the military barracks coming down for Kvoth, the counter barracks coming down as well over here. He's advanced really fast. He's got his oracles in position on this town center. Whether or not Kimo is going to be going for said town center over here or not remains to be seen. And one thing that Kvoth can actually do here, if he so chooses, is he's got the resources currently to kind of do it, but he can manually heroize these oracles and valor his Terma and Mamilo straight away here for a very, very big advantage. As we do see the Athena 65% of the way through here. Kvoth has committed quite strongly to this top town center, but I imagine the units for Kvoth are going to start moving down to the bottom town center. Obviously here, if Kvoth can catch the town center going up, whichever way Kimo decides to go, he's going to be in a very good position. But the big thing is here for Kimo isn't going for a town center here. Kimo's got 56 gold in the bank. He's throwing down military academy. Stable here. He's going one town center on this map. He doesn't care. He doesn't need a town center. We see the heroes coming through for Kvoth. This is going to be a very, very different Hades versus Oranos war here. As Kvoth going to be coming through, an attempt to take down this Minotaur. It's getting out of position quite a bit. Shockwave being utilized here to take this Minotaur out, and that does mean the Minotaur will be getting picked off. Kvoth going to get a little bit of path blockage action here with the Promethean, as he does manage to take that Minotaur down. And Kimo now, he's just about to get his military academy, his archery range up. He's on the back foot here in this game, as the wall is going to be getting broken down on this location as well. There's a Promethean going to be pulling back, and we will be seeing the walls probably not broken down. Chiron a little bit too strong here for the units to quite push through at this point, but Kvoth has got to realize he's not up against a fast second town center Oranos here at this point. So he sees the Hippocon. He sees everything happening here. So he's got to make a decision as to what to do here. Whether he goes for something different, he goes for town centers, he goes full population, one town center here. All these options, very, very spicy. We'll have to wait and see, as we do have the Terma scouting around the back. They will spot those villagers on the back boars over there, as the wall has been broken down. Kvoth will need to leave a handful of units here to prevent a wall from going up. And one thing he can do is he can stay here and prevent this wall from coming back up, run around the bottom, hit this raid on the bottom here. And did he see that? If we take a look at Kvoth's perspective, he does know that there's boars on the back there, and he will be sending his units around there at this point. So Kimo moving his army through to the back there to defend, as the units for Kvoth going to start hitting the front here, taking out a hoplite. Nice marker there from Kimo, as the army coming back to defend this one, as these units here for Kvoth should start retreating back, as he's managed to distract those units quite nicely. The army coming in, but Kimo, too smart, pulls off of the boars as he predicts exactly what's coming for him there. Nice play. Realizes there's not enough units there. There should be more units there. Where is he sending? Obviously sending him to the hunt on the back, but Kimo doesn't pull them back far enough, as he's still going to be losing villagers. Nonetheless, one villager going down over here, two villagers potentially going down. No shockwave at the moment to pick up any more, as Kvoth probably should just... Oh no, he's going to get that third villager as well. No, that's a Murmillo picked off. The villager did manage to garrison, as a Murmillo does fall down there. The unit's trying to get some snipes there on the front, as Kvoth is at 80 population. Kimo's at 68 population here. Husbandry coming through as well for Kimo, as he's probably going to have to jump onto those pigs in his base. Not a whole lot of pigs there, in all honesty, as the stray deer there might be a problem, as Kimo going to be pulling off of that forest there on the front, as Kvoth is still distracting with this army. But this is a perfectly reasonable fight now for Kimo to take, because half of the army here, that's a lot of population here that isn't on the front, means that Kimo can take these fights on the front here completely fine, as we are seeing the units pulling back. Valor getting thrown down there as well. A little bit of a turnaround to get some more picks off. Kvoth is at 95 population here, trying to take these units down as best as he possibly can. Those Terma not really that useful here, as we do see the units coming in trying to snipe down a sentinel there. In all honesty, I feel like if Kvoth comes back with his army, takes this fight, forces out a restoration, that's a big win there, as we do see Kimo consistently pushing forward, but getting turned around by Kvoth, trying to get some snipes in, as he does move those Terma in to snipe down a Toxote. He does lose one Terma for it. Terma versus Toxote, you've got 95 resources for the Terma to the, what is that? 90 resources for the Toxote. So trading one for one, fairly good trade there for an Oranos player who's got a little bit more economy coming in at this stage of the game, as we do see the units coming through here. One Hippocon going to be going down. Those Hero Murmillo still sitting fairly healthy there. One getting taken out, but another Hoplite will go down. Good marker there from Kvoth to pull back his Hero Terma, as we see a couple more military units getting taken out there as well, as the army of Kimo coming in onto this position to try and deal with this. But as that happens, we will be seeing this wall getting broken down. Kimo going to put up the other wall over on this location to defend his gold miners. The gold villagers will have to be pulled off here. Kimo now has 400 gold in the bank, so probably actually enough to get himself up to the second age. Not the second age, up to more, a full population army there, I should say. As the towns that are coming up for Kimo, Kvoth, he needs to see this. He hasn't recognized it just yet. Tons of villagers moving up to this position to grab this this town center. The two oracles scouting it out very, very clearly as the sentry tower going to be getting taken out here. Kvoth now finally realizing this. He is going to be too little too late. The army is in position. There is a potential for a restoration. The army going to come around here to try and get in. Hero Oracle going to come in to try and delay the town center ever so slightly, but is it going to be able to answer? Not really. Picking off these units here is going to be vitally important. We'll see if Kvoth is going to be able to micro this one as the restoration does come through there for Kimo, and Kvoth does have to pull back. Kimo gets his town center up. The granary coming up here as well. That's a big, big help to Kimo's economy getting onto the hunt there at that position there. But at this point, Kimo has got no gold, but Kvoth will need to take a fight. And taking a fight against the Hades is always very, very difficult as the unit's still searching around, trying to find raids, trying to find pressure points. In this position here, we see still only the 2 military buildings up for Kvoth as he's going to be getting himself this town center here. So basically in this position, as we do see the villagers getting pushed off of that food source very, very quickly there, picking off one villager, potentially 2 villagers going down. Doesn't manage to get the villagers that jumps into the town center. But Kvoth here needs to make a decision. And he's made it already by grabbing the town center. He either needs to go full send on one town center, get himself his armory upgrades, and try and go for a gold staff. Or he needs to get himself 2 town centers, 3 town centers, and get a population advantage to try and win these fights. Personally, I think going for the armory upgrades and maybe even going for an early Hyperion here would be a much, much safer way, or much, much more difficult way for Kimo to hold here than for Kvoth to get this second town center up and try and put pressure on with his unupgraded units. Though Kvoth does have enough resources here to start getting his armory upgrades, so he hasn't placed them down just yet. It looks like he's probably gearing up to get himself this town center here as well, as the granary on that position going to be getting taken out. We do see the army coming through, but Kimo at this point, 108 of 120 population. He's just sitting back, waiting, watching. He's in a decent position. We do see those Toxotes getting some good damage done. As Kvoth does push through, he will be able to take down a Hippocon and everything else. Terma coming around the back, trying to take down those Toxotes on the back there. Nice micro. Kvoth is actually over microing onto those Toxotes on the back. And the big thing that happens when you focus fire all of your Terma onto one Toxote is, yes, the Toxote dies, but you lose a ton of DPS there as Kimo hard wins that fight. Kvoth going to be retreating away. Still seeing these units trying to snipe villagers in the main base of Kimo, as Kimo not paying attention all too well to that. Kvoth here gets his town center up, has a handful more military buildings up here. There's still plenty of hunt on the map here to grab. Aurochs over here, tons of elk over here, deer on this position as well. Kvoth could also grab this town center as another option in this game. The Kimo is just waiting, watching, seeing. And we do see Chrono JJ saying 10 Terma on one Toxote. Absolutely right. One unupgraded Toxote takes 3 shots to die from a Terma. If you got 10, you can split them up into groups of 5 or 4. If you've got 12, 12 is the best number because you split them up into groups of 4. Normally around about 1 will miss, 1 arrow will miss from the Terma. So you can pick off 3 Toxote in one attack on one volley from your 12 Terma. So the best way to play against Terma is to split up into groups of 4 or 5 rather than the 10. That way you get the max amount of damage done and live the dream. So you do see the temple on this position for Kimo getting taken out. Sometimes you've got to be thinking it's a little bit risky to take a temple down against a Hades player, because the Hades player does not need to put that temple back up. And what does that mean? It means that the Hades player at some point will be able to drop the temple back up and be able to get a huge wave of shades, Hades shades, to get a timing attack. Now, arguably, the fact that you're not getting Hades shades produced throughout the game is a better thing for the player who picks the temple off, and the Hades player should be putting the temple back up over and over again. But the point still stands that while you're not going to have to deal with the Hades shades on the regular, you're gonna have to deal with a big wave. But Kimo does simply just put his temple back up, and we'll see how many shades come through here. As that one does come back up. It shouldn't be too many because there hasn't been that many kills. In fact, it seems like 0 have come through for Kimo in that moment. As Kvoth's still trying to run around the map, still trying to figure out how he can get a gold staff here. Thea is coming through as the villagers here getting up that wall segment has managed to stop that wall from going up at that point by picking off the building, the wall segment that's currently was being built there, allowing the spread damage to spread over those walls to take it down very, very fast. Nice play there. We do see the Prometheans sitting on this town center over here as the villager going to be grabbing this settlement on the back. Personally, I would have rather to see this one going to the way of Kvoth, as we do see Apollo coming through for Kimo. As Kimo still sitting in a defensive position here. Managing his gold mine quite nice, as we do see shaft mine coming through for Kimo, copper mail coming through for Kvoth at this point. But here's the thing: so many resources here for Kvoth have gone into Terma. Had Kvoth, instead of building the second town center, instead of building all of this extra population into Terma, just gone to the heroic age, he would have been able to get into Arcus, into destroyers, and into a solid unit composition that can deal with the army that Kimo has assembled here. But because he goes for the second town center, he almost has to make more Terma, which means he's sitting now in the 15-minute mark with 130 population, with 14 Terma, which, I mean, you can micro these to pick off the enemy Toxotes. If you micro it well, you can manage to win some fights, but you have to micro it well, and we are seeing Kvoth here, he has managed to do a little bit of nice micro there. He picks off 2 Toxotes at once there by splitting up his Terma. But his Terma here basically are just dead weight. He wants to kill these Terma off, replace them with Arcus, replace them with Destroyers here, as villagers are getting taken down in the front here. Lots of food and wood in the bank here for Kvoth, as he's starting to send the Stymphalian birds through to get some fights here. We've already got the heroic age through for Kimo as he gets himself the heavy Toxotes to get a little bit more survivability here in these fights, as the Terma on this position going to start getting taken down by the Manticore and everything else that's in here. We do see the Chiron getting some good damage done onto those Dryads, as it looks like Kimo is able to handedly hold here, as Kvoth is just not able to put any pressure on the map. We do see a whole bunch of population over here. I think that's 4 population just sitting idle, or more than 4. Are these 1 population? Yeah. 5 population sitting idle on that settlement there, preventing that one from going up. And Kimo is using all of his population here to defend against Kvoth. So, technically speaking, Kvoth is down 5 population in every single one of these fights. On the top sides of the map, we see raids. We've also got a 3 population Terma hero sitting over here. So, when you're like, man, the Oranos army just cannot break through the Hades army, you go, well, why should it? He's got less population than the Hades player here. As the Stymphalian birds coming through. I mean, he does have Dryads, which are a big, big help here. As the army still pushing through for Kimo, it's sitting in a really, really strong position. The Manticore, the Chiron, going to be able to take down those Stymphalian birds really, really quickly. The Chiron has just got homing beacon arrows in search of Stymphalian birds, as bam, it hits yet again. 29 HP remaining there. Such a strong unit in these situations. As Kimo now manages to get the resources to advance to the Mythic Age. He's going up through Artemis as well. This is something we've seen quite a bit. I'm not sure why we're seeing this so often here from the perspective of the Hades player. Because from my account, if you go Artemis, yes, you have Earthquake. Yes, you're possibly going to be able to pick off a settlement, and that might be enough to win a game. But if you go through Hephaestus, you almost guarantee you're not going to lose the game. And if you... Because, well, for a multitude of reasons, but if you don't lose the game as Hades against anyone, you win. Because Hades' late game is the strongest because of the extra building HP, the Gastrophedes, all of the strengths that come through. Also, having a Plenty Vault means your late game is going to be very much unbeatable. But we see the Artemis. Artemis does give the Chimera, which will help with dealing with these Arcus. We see some Kimo Peltast coming in here. The Dryads pushing through as well. But where is the Artemis going to get dropped? Do you drop it on this location here with all the buildings? Do we see fortified town centers or masons? Not yet for Kvoth. Does Kvoth have another Hesperus tree? Yes, he could. He could drop the Hesperus tree here and completely defend this town center from an earthquake. Could be an option. But then you would just get earthquaked in your main town center. As there's a Pegasus in, already out here looking to push through. The Hypaspis coming in. The Toxotes coming through as well. As Kvoth is trying to make this Destroyer Arcus composition work. His full population. And this is obviously the composition you want. But when a Hades player has got Hypaspis, you almost need to pull your Destroyers back away from the Hypaspis and force those Arcus to be taken down, the Hypaspis, focus firing them down. So we do see Chiron getting sniped as the army pushing forward. Do we see any attempt at another Hesperus tree on this forward location? If Kvoth loses this, it's kind of game over. How much HP is in here at the moment? You've got 2,100, 2,000, so 4,000 HP, 1,200, 1,200, and 1,200. That's not enough population or HP there to defend that town center. As you do see the Kimo Pegasus dropping an Underworld in a very bizarre position. So you do see a sky passage coming up there for Kvoth as he wants to try and teleport from one side of the map to the other. As the Pegasus does spot the town center there. The earthquake going to be getting utilized here, taking that town center down as the army continuing to take these fights. Where did he click that Underworld? His Underworld is randomly in the middle of his base. His villagers are going to be coming through here. We do see the citizen pushing forward. They will see that Underworld passage as the villagers pop out over here. Going to be looking to drop some buildings as the army's still fighting on this position. Kimo, he's got himself the champion Toxotes. He's got himself the economy. 72 villagers here. The only thing he needs in this game now is to get himself a town center. And Kvoth realizes here in this game that he is too far behind and he cannot get the dub. Well played by Kimo, but here's the thing. I think that if you ever see your opponent grabbing a town center as late as Kimo did here, if we take a quick look at the post game, I feel like the answer here, where was it? Settlement. He got it at 10 minutes. 10 minutes. If you're playing this game correctly as the Oranos player, and you don't lose too many units here, if we take a look at the military units, there's really not that many units getting picked off. You should be in the heroic age by around about the 10 minute to 11 minute mark. So if your opponent goes for this town center and you're in the heroic age at 11 minutes and they're getting this town center up, you can throw down a palace. You can throw down your town center a little bit later. You don't have to build those really weak Terma. You can go straight into Arcus or straight into even Contaris if you really want. I don't like the Contaris, but straight into a palace. Go straight into Destroyers. And you can start putting pressure on with either Chaos or Stymphalian birds, having access to Arcus to take out the enemy Chiron as well with much more effectiveness. You're in a much better position, but Kvoth just opting to grab the town center and chase that population just plays into what Hades wants to do here. Hades wants to stay. Hades wants the Oranos player in the classical age. That's just the rub of it. That's how the matchup is going now. Hades wants the Oranos player in the classical age. If the Oranos player can get out of the classical age, they're going to have a much better opportunity at winning these games. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this one, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.